Good afternoon. Today is Monday, October 6, 2025. It's 5:31 p.m. We're here for the regular trustee meeting. If you can join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Are there any modifications or additions?
None from staff.
If
I make
not,
a
yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the agenda for the October 6, 2025 meeting as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the general ledger report?
Make a motion to approve the general ledger report in the amount of $358,213.93 for the September 3rd, 2025 payroll.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $414,181.05 for the September 17th, 2025 payroll.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the payment listing reports in the amount of $1,120,655,063 for warrants through September 30th, 2025.
I just want to verify $1,120,655.63.
That's correct.
Thank you. Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. We have minutes from the September 2nd, 2025 special trustee meeting, the September 2nd, 2025 regular trustee meeting, and the September 15th, 2025 special trustee meeting. Are there any changes, additions? If not, do we have a motion to approve all three as presented?
I make a motion to accept the minutes for all three meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Rushing, we have a pre-scheduled speaker, Mr. Sumner.
Yes, board, let me pull him up. Ted, can you hear us and can you see us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear and see me?
Hey,
Yes.
there he is.
I'm going to pull up your
Great.
presentation and I'll be your clicker. So we're on the title side and I'll turn it over to you. This is Ted Sumner with Huntington Investments. He's one of our investment advisors for the township's portfolio.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just pulling up, I have a PowerPoint. You don't necessarily need to be looking at it. If you do have it in front of you, do you have that up, Brian, or not?
I do.
We
And
do.
I'll be your clicker.
Excellent. Well, so basically, if you want to jump to the page 3, I just kind of go into a background. We are at a very, market, the equity markets hit all-time highs again today. There was something I saw in the news the other day that when the Fed starts cutting rates during a non-recessionary economy, which most hope that that's where we are, you could see the stock market go up another 15% within the next 9 months. So very good stock market. What that means is that everything that you do as a township is in fixed income, which is not stock market, but it's certainly related. So as the stock market does well, interest rates tend to go lower. Bond values go higher, but interest rates are coming down. The Fed's cutting rates. So we're trying to position, if you could predict the future and had cash to invest, you would invest as long as you possibly could if interest rates are going to go lower. So you'd lock in at the higher rates for as long as possible. And the opposite. If rates are going to be at 5% like they were a year and a half ago on treasuries, you would have you have everything in cash to invest at that point in time. So basically, we're just trying to maintain the best possible asset mix. You have a 5-year maximum time horizon as a public entity in the state of Ohio. You're very, very limited as to what you can invest in as far as select few investments. And, over time, between working with Ryan and Alex, the township has done a good job of just kind of laddering, diversifying the maturity ranges of where you're invested. You have just shy of 10 million, like $9.2 million total in the portfolio. You have an asset mix of 2 or 3 different types that are allowed under the code: FDIC insured CDs, treasuries, and some money and some overnight that is 100% FDIC insured. So township has done an excellent job of not only diversifying what you own, but also, making sure that it's in government-backed or FDIC insured products. So if you go to the next slide, I can't see the slides you're showing, Ryan, but I'm on the one that's labeled Beavercreek Township Holdings.
It is there, yep.
Okay, so total invested in the investment account, 9.2 million roughly. The maturities coming due in 2026, 4.54, 1.7 in 2027, and just over 1 million in 2028. So you've been conservative. You could go out 5 years. You're keeping it to within the next 3 years. The great majority of what you own, if you look at the notes at the bottom, in between, I've just broken it down by asset mix as to what you own. You own roughly $2.5 million in very, very short-term commercial paper, which comes due in the next 3 to 4 months. You own the majority of your assets in FDIC-insured CDs, and then you have some U.S. government and Treasury bonds that we bought a long time ago that are finally coming due, thankfully, and hopefully we can lock in at 3 to 4% rates. But 6 million plus of your 9 million portfolio is coming due by the end of 2026. What I would suggest, looking at what you have coming due, you have $4.5 million coming due between in 2026, is you're going to want to try to lock that in for a couple of years at current higher rates. If interest rates fall another 1% as predicted by the market, you'll want to hurry up and lock that in at higher rates with probably maturities in the first half of 2026. And anybody, if you ever have a question, please stop me. I don't want to just sit here and talk to you, but I just wanted to give a quick review.
Hey, Ted, have you done the analysis to determine if it's what essentially the cost benefit analysis would be if you were to liquidate that 6 million sooner than later and then replenish it for another 5 years?
Yeah, I would say that that's a pretty unusual thing I work with a great majority of my customers are governments. They don't generally trade like that. That's kind of like buying and selling. I don't think that the first thing is your cash accounting. There's a lot of nuances there, meaning that you're going to lock in a loss on the sales that you're going to have to report, and that's a non-starter for most governments on a cash accounting basis. But if you guys were willing to overlook that, you certainly could consider that. Yes, if you wait until 2026 when, half of your investments come due and interest rates are now 1% lower, that's a big give up. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to get 1%, one to one. And let's say the first half of 2026, like this year, the Fed doesn't cut rates as quickly as they thought. So, the future interest rate cuts run through like the first quarter or second quarter of 2027. So, like I said, I think a more conservative approach would be as the investments come due in the first half of 2026, hopefully interest rates are still closer to 3%, and we can lock those in. And then if we get to getting down into the 2% range for the second half of 26, we'll just keep some of those shorter, go shorter term with those, hoping that the interest rate cycle will then turn around again at some point in 2027. Usually the Fed lowers rates for a period of time, generally over the period of roughly 18 months, and then it stops for 6 months to a year, lets it settle in, and then they start to raise rates. So if you look at that cycle and consider where the market's telling us interest rates are going, they'll bottom out somewhere in middle 2027 and, hopefully go higher, at the end of 2027.
Sure, but then at that point, then you're either locking in for short term or,
Right.
so, yeah, I understand what you're saying as far as the conservative approach and how government normally works on it, but there is a, you can run a math model that'll say essentially, if you were to cash those out today, here's what, or next week, whatever, here's what they would turn at, what they would
Yeah,
essentially liquidate
of
at.
course.
And then there's a.
I'm happy to run it. Have I run it for
there's a-
tonight's meeting? No.
No, I get that.
Nobody asked me to do that.
Yeah, there's a potential deduct, but
One thing we need to be careful of, if we do take a loss, we have to report that in our
Right.
audit.
sure. But if you don't, you might take a loss for the next 5 years.
I understand that. but
We've been through
if we
that
have a
before.
clean audit,
It makes more.
we have to report that.
Sure.
And then, of course, it'll be identified in the gap report as well.
Which would be more harmful.
I think you also have to make some assumptions that you're going to be able to lock in at a higher rate. You're going to be able to predict the future, and that's a tough one. That's where the tough part comes in. But yeah, I'm happy to run the cost benefit model.
Yeah, and the question is, it's not an instruction to do it. It's essentially an ask of why not look at the model and determine is the risk worth the gain or not. So, and I understand what you're saying, but we've been through a period when if we're going into the tail end of a funding cycle and we're burning off essentially reserves, and then we essentially, as we approach that, and then we have essentially the next cycle of a presidential election, where interest rates are less likely to go up unless there's a world event, which none of us can predict, then it might be worth taking a short-term loss to have a 5-year net of 1 to 1.5%, potentially more.
I understand that,
Yeah.
we gotta understand that we have to report it to the state.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't report it. I'm saying maybe the reporting is worth it. So,
Financially it would, but then,
I mean, one of the issues you would.
Audit-wise,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, like he's saying, financially it would be good, but audit-wise, it could be bad for us.
it would be a.
I'm just saying what I've heard from other governments. That's been the hang up. I mean, right now, the 5-year treasury is right around 3.7%. I mean, the Fed lowered interest rates in 2024 by 1%, right? We're already well into the interest rate lowering cycle. So the question is, how much lower are they going to go from here? And is it really going to be that big of a pickup in yield by cashing out, taking a loss, and extending?
yeah.
Yeah,
Right, but having a management note on our audit it's not the end of the world. We've had horrible management notes before with with fiscal officers. So all I'm suggesting is perhaps take a look at it so you understand, is it millions or is it thousands, and then make a judgment call. So it's not our money, it's other people's money. So,
Right.
and we have an obligation to extend it as far as we can within the confines of what we're allowed to do. So that's my opinion.
For sure.
So,
Happy to do that.
no call to action, just, to me, it's our obligation to look at it. I think I resigned it. I did.
I'm sorry. I left this.
Sorry to interrupt you,
so-
please proceed.
No, not at all. I'm happy to take questions. Just please interrupt. I mean, bottom line is traditionally the township, and I've worked with the township for years, is, taking a shorter term approach. It's conservative, right? Most governments, you guys are very similar in that it's hard to predict 5 years, even 5 years out, right? Even though you're asked to do a 5-year forecast. 5 years seems like a long period of time to determine what could or may or may not be expenses that are significant to you that you'll need the funds for. But within that construct, I mean, you've done a good job of trying to get it out further, because the last time we talked about this, interest rates were higher. And we talked about this last year, I believe, or a little over a year ago. And the funds that have come due, we have put them out into longer term investments. And so that has been, we've been, doing what we're suggesting here since the last time, but everything doesn't come due at once on purpose. And the purpose of having a ladder, putting a certain amount out to every, each year or every quarter or every half year, is to keep you from having to try to game or predict the future as to where interest rates are going to be, and just consistently invest.
Right.
And that in and of itself, as I think doing your fiduciary duty to taxpayers of, managing money in a pretty fiscally conservative, prudent way. I understand what you're saying.
But you're saying, Ted,
I'm just-
and I guess the catalyst for my question was that you're saying that 2/3 of our investments are coming due in the next year, by the end of '26? So
That's right.
we're not laddered out 5 years, we're laddered, we have a third of it that might be beyond that, but we're only really, 2/3 of it is coming due in a year.
That's right.
In a year when rates are supposed to drop, so.
Well, I mean, and for as long as I worked for the township, I don't think you guys have ever been invested out 5 years. That's just never, it's been
No, I know.
a conservative approach to stay shorter, which is typical of a lot of governments, right? It's unpredictable tax flows and outflows. So to go out 5 years has never been something that you've done. And like I said, when I started, if you could predict the future, when interest rates were at 5.5%, you would have had it all in 5-year treasuries and locked it in. It just doesn't work like that. But yeah, we'll do our best. Hopefully interest rates won't come down as fast as predicted. And as investments come due, we could take a look at selling a couple of your, lower yielding, those are going to take the biggest hits. But anything currently that, is coming due in the near future and selling it early, and what would it mean to you to go out? We could maybe take a few million and do that. And I think the first question would be, is the township willing to invest out past 3 years? Because traditionally that's been the hard stop.
The yields that you have on here, are they yield to maturity or yield to worst, or what are they?
Yield to maturity.
Okay,
There's no call on the CDs or the treasuries
okay,
or commercial.
thank you.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think that, we're about halfway through the interest rate cycle, so that's the upside. But 2/3 of what you have is coming due, yes, in the next year. I think it's a great suggestion that we look at maybe taking a portion of that and trying to roll it over and lock it in sooner than later. The bigger question is, I don't know if you invest right now 3.5% for 5 years when, a year and a half ago, or not even a year and a half ago, you could have invested closer to 5.5%. So, we'll make some, you guys ultimately will make the judgments, but I'll show you what you can get for the time frame. But the yield curve is very flat, meaning there's same interest rate you're going to get for 2 years all the way out to 5. So it's tough for a lot of people to want to consider longer, except if you think interest rates will stay low.
Okay. Any other questions or?
I would just probably recommend you coming back in about the third or fourth month of 2026 and bringing this back to the attention of the trustees and working actively on it at that point in time to see what's available and bringing some of those ideas back around.
Well, by third or fourth quarter of 2026, the 6 million's already going to become due, so.
That's what I'm saying about the first quarter.
Yeah,
Bring it-
personally, I'd like to see an analysis run and then present it back to us. You can send it to Mr. Rushing and we can review, or you can dial in and we can do a quick review, just so we at least know what we are or are not leaving on the table. So, and then have a conversation with Terry and with Mr. Zaharif and collectively.
Yeah, so how it goes right now is
Waiting
when
until 26 is kind of like, yeah, you're ready, it's too late at that point, potentially.
Right.
Because all the money is due at that point. Okay,
I will connect with Ryan and Alex here within the next few weeks.
perfect, thank you. Otherwise, great report.
Thank you. Anything else?
The past is great, we need to keep it shining.
I wish I could predict the future for you, but then I wouldn't be sitting here.
No,
So thank you, and I'm always around to take more questions.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ted.
Have a good night.
Okay. At this time, we offer the podium to any citizens desiring to speak. If you wish to, please just give us your name, your address, and we like to cap it at 3 minutes, please.
Good evening. My name is Ann Stalter, 2572 Rolling Meadows. I'm reminding the community that early voting early voting starts tomorrow on Ledbetter Road. I'm running for Beavercreek Township trustee because this is my home. I love this community and I want to help ensure that it remains a safe, vibrant, and welcoming place to live, work, and age in place. My background is in public health nursing education. For over 30 years, I've worked with communities to promote health, safety, and well-being. I also bring experience as a small business owner and as chair of the Beavercreek Township Zoning Commission. I have had the privilege of promoting responsible development and thoughtful land use. I believe in transparent leadership, open communication, and collaborative decision-making. As a trustee, I will listen to residents, support our first responders, and make fiscally responsible decisions that strengthen the township for the long term. My reputation precedes itself in being a woman who demonstrates professional integrity. I have my priorities listed on my website. Anyone can see that. And a take-home message is that I'm running as a write-in candidate, and I would be honored to earn your trust and your vote. And perhaps, since you are write-in recipients of the trustee, you might be able to remind the community how to cast that vote. And I thank you for the opportunity to serve the community that I care deeply about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
It's a beauty and the beast, so. Thanks, everyone. Tracy Klitsch, 3185 Waterhouse Drive, Beavercreek, Ohio. For once, I had kind of had to take notes before I came here and just got my thoughts together about this. So if I look at what's happened with Trustee Wallace when it came to Ann Stalter and now the fire chief, you know, and you see a pattern of bad behavior, you have seen bad behavior, and it's going to continue. And only the voters can stop this nonsense from happening and stop the embarrassment that the township has and she keeps bringing on. I just want to talk about the investigation real quick. I'm not sure where that stood. I missed the other two meetings. I don't know if it's still active, if you're still waiting on Trustee Wallace to come back from wherever she was. I assume she was held up with the Democrats in Texas when they fled the state, but I don't know for sure. But I know that obviously she didn't sit down for an interview, and that's a problem. So all these resources spent on this investigation are basically a waste now, because she didn't want to participate in it. So where does it stand? I mean, what's the findings of the investigation? So I think we have pretty good facts. You know, I think the truth is on the side of the people that brought the complaint forward. If we had a prosecutor that didn't have an ass-sitting contest in the county, I think we'd be talking about a different story, and I think Trustee Wallace would be criminally indicted or at least charged. But the investigation, I think, is, you know, I was against it. I was against you guys doing it because there's nothing coming out of it, and that's a shame. And so, you know, I heard Trustee Wallace talk about picking the internal candidate of the fire chief at the campaign forum by the Women's League. I about fell off my chair when she said I want to support in-house fire candidate for the chief. So it's like now, you know, we're circling back around in this vicious cycle of, hey, I want to beat the crap out of you, but hey, will you still love me? So, you know, I'm hoping the voters are going to listen to this, listen to the facts, stop the I'm the victim from Trustee Wallace, and listen. You know, if you're a female and you know Trustee Wallace has browbeat two influential females in the township, you know, how can you vote and support her? I mean, how can you do it? I know people have come up here and said she's the greatest thing since sliced butter. But this is, you know, I don't get it. Done?
Done.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Okay, if not, Mr. Rushing, we have no old business. We have new business, Beaver Cemetery rules and regs.
Thank you, Board. As you know, one of our responsibilities is to maintain Beaver Cemetery on Dayton Xenia Road. The processing of that is done by our Finance Department, but it's a collaborative effort. It does not go undone. As you know, our fiscal officer helps oversees, as well as Public Service Department actually facilitates the opening and closing and the maintenance and any improvements to the cemetery. So from time to time, we have to revise our rules and procedures because we come across common things that occur throughout the year, common questions that we need to shore up and ensure that we have a good set of rules. So it's one of those little items in local government that occasionally we maybe sometimes forget about, but we are stewards of Beaver Cemetery. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Finance Director, Ms. Molden, to walk us through the changes. Due to the vastness of the updates in your packet, there is no red line because it was essentially a new document.
Rewrite.
Exactly right. However, we did include the existing rules, which is more or less the 8.5 by 11 pamphlet. So you can do a compare and contrast if you want to see current to what we are proposing to hopefully adopt this evening. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Molden.
Can you, I guess, maybe from a highlight standpoint, point to the material changes that you would say, I mean, as far as whether in the spirit of it or a significant
Sure.
material change? That
I
might
had,
keep you from reading it to us and us reading it back to you.
Let me pull that up because I
Sure.
actually had like a little speech prepared, but I'll go back to
You can do your speech, then maybe that'll answer all the questions that
Okay.
we could possibly think of.
So the updated cemetery rules represent a full restructuring of the previous version. The old rules were brief, only containing 6 articles. The new version expands to 15 detailed articles. The updates introduce modern terminology. Most of the old wording was lot deeds and ownership rights, and so now we have certificates of ownership of burial rights. So not to confuse people that they actually own the land, but they are purchasing burial rights and not the actual land. And that's consistent with the Ohio Revised Code. The revisions also expand on visitation, interment, and ownership rules, adding specific limits on burial, stricter transfer procedures, and defined conditions which under interment rights may be forfeited. So they haven't come around in 50 years. Their interment rights can be forfeited, possibly. There are now 2 clean sweep dates each year, more details on what decorations aren't allowed, tighter standards for installing monuments and markers. Township's role and authority are clearly defined with staff responsible for enforcing the rules, references to state law, help make everything more consistent and transparent. Overall, the updates make the rules easier to follow, stronger, and more organized.
Okay. As far as consistent with either our peer townships in the state, I mean, where did this reference come from? As far as where did we draw, what did we draw upon to form this?
Ohio Revised Code.
This is what the
Yes.
revised code says?
And-
Okay,
and we-
perfect.
We might have gotten a little bit from other townships.
Sure.
Some of the language.
Okay. Ms. Frick, and this comes from an experience that one of my employees had years ago. They were in Pickerington, Ohio, or they were in a township up near Pickerington, and they had to fight with their township to transfer their son, who was buried there, and to get essentially to remove him out of the ground and move him to a family cemetery. So can you just walk us through the process of what a family might have to go to if they want to, is that addressed in here as far as if they want to, I don't know what you call that, exhume or?
So technically, I believe you have to get a court order in order to
And
exhume.
they did, yeah.
And then I think it does address, it's been a week or two before I looked at, but it does address that exhuming if they have that court order, as I recall.
I'll find that.
Let's see.
So I would assume if we're following the revised code's gonna address that. It's gonna point to the courts and say you need to do this, that, or the other. And it was, besides the reason why they wanted to move, it was a very painful year-long process.
Yeah,
They were-
that's
they
on
were-
page 8, interments, disinterment, and misinterments.
page 8 of the document, so page,
Yeah, it actually is at the top of page 9, and it talks about before a disinterment can be
44 in your packet.
conducted,
yeah,
a court order must be obtained,
okay, there it is, okay.
outstanding debts
The
and charges must
okay,
be settled.
disinterment, I had a different word in my brain when I was looking for it, okay.
And then it refers to the revised code section.
And that was just, no family it was just a painful process, so it was court and township, so, at the time. Okay,
Will we, once we adopt this document, will we have a sign or anything on, about the clean sweeps of the monuments?
Yes.
Once they,
We talked about,
Yes, we'll have two, during those two clean sweeps, we'll go out and put a sign out at each entrance, probably about a month in advance of the clean sweeps to give everybody
an opportunity.
to come get whatever they'd like to get.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and having a more concise document. And when someone comes in, then they'll be able to have this document with them when they purchase a grave.
right, right. So when they purchased a grave, there's a signature on the last page, which Ms. Frick recommended, so we added that on there.
And then they'll receive this.
Yes,
So how
so
did-
when
I
we
think-
have anybody come in, we're gonna hand them out, coming in for a burial or to ask questions or whatever, we're gonna
See what
try
the-
to get them to people. Or they come in to complain because their items are not there anymore.
I think,
We're gonna hand them the new rules.
I think it's a good idea, 'cause I know cemetery where I live at, that people are putting like bird feeders and chimes and lights and balloons, and it's kind of like, really?
Right,
So I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
I agree.
So in the spirit of trying to get people to understand the rules that have changed, that have already purchased a plot.
We're gonna
So you're gonna do a mailer or do?
put it on the website. We haven't talked about a mailer, but we.
I don't know how many there are, if there's 20 or if there's 200, but
Right.
either way, it might be prudent to to send notice of a rules and regs change. I don't know if we're obligated to, but
We could look at the name and addresses we have on
They may not be
file,
they may not be current,
in
I
the cemetery
understand.
website, but we don't know for sure if
If they're
it's still
still-
the same families, with the
Right.
same
But
addresses.
otherwise, that you would not know unless there's a sign that says the rules changed. Go
Right.
look it up at this, here's a QR code, and that's
Right.
kind of cold.
Right,
We could look at doing an export of addresses in the software and
Right.
email merge and just
It's just,
take our chance if it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
yeah,
we'd
if
probably
I,
get a lot back,
Yeah.
but we
if I
would know
bought a plot
then.
10 years ago, how do I know the rules
Right.
changed? So,
Right,
yep.
at least it would hit the recent people, I guess, doing it that way.
Okay.
Especially with with putting things on the grave marker and things.
Right,
I think that would be probably more important.
it's probably gonna be a painful change because people do like to put a lot of things on the graves and,
It's a personal,
Right.
very sensitive, yeah, so what might be normal for me might not be normal for thee.
right,
You're looking for a motion to adopt this?
yes, please.
Okay.
I'll make
Just
a
as
motion.
presented.
I'll make a motion 2025-1006-admin-H to adopt the Beaver Cemetery rules and regulations as presented.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes, thanks for your work.
And thanks to Nicole and John, we all got together and
Great.
worked on it as a team.
Perfect.
So,
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay,
Thank you, Board. Now move on to our department reports. First, we have our substation and Sergeant Sean Kessel.
Good evening, Board. Just a couple items for you this evening. Just want to mention community engagement. We continue to be active in the community. The Popcorn Festival, the Try Truck this past weekend, we had good attendance out there, participation. I did want to mention that we do have the drug take back, our second drug take back on October 25th between 10 and 2. I intend to be here for that. It's a good program. I think that we can continue with that.
what date is that?
October 25th? Yes, from 10 to 2.
Great.
And I did want to give you an update on the Fogwell project, Constable Fogwell. He was officially recognized by the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial, and a formal dedication, as indicated, is on May 13th, 2026. during Police Week. So Mr. Rushing and I are working to put something together around that time, something special so we can memorialize him further in the township. So, excited about that.
And his family's, the living survivors of him have been notified and been
I
made
did
contact,
speak
made
with a
aware.
living relative, and he's
Good,
doing what he can to make it out. So,
great.
And you did a great job on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
we're hoping to be able to represent the county and the township at the event. And Mr. Rushing and I are also speaking about that, so.
Very good.
Did want to pass on the ACE drug interdiction, September 24th. As you can see, that was an active event, quite a bit of drugs. We did have the county dogs out and a couple other agencies in a combined effort. I know that Captain Ing is scheduled to speak at the next meeting. He's going to bring something to the board as well. So as always, that was a successful event.
If you can just remind him on that, and we ask him every year, but just as a reminder, when he comes to that meeting, if there's a specific budget item that he needs assistance or needs consideration of, that would be the time to bring it, because in a couple months. the
I do
budget-
believe he intends to bring something to the board
Okay,
in a couple of weeks.
good.
And we don't talk about Flock enough, but I did want to mention that we had a daytime burglary. I can't talk too much about it in the township. And if it wasn't for our Flock on Ripple Road, we would not have generated leads or suspects. So it's just another example of that. It's an expensive program, but it does work for its intended purpose.
Thank you.
Yes. And I updated Luke and Maverick's pictures, any snazzy? But of course, the Pack Track report is available with his activities as well. So any
He's not very well armed. Normally he comes in looking like he's ready for a tactical event.
Maverick. The fur missile. But any questions on the monthly report?
Well, good job, though.
And,
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Okay, human resources, Mr. Rushing?
Yes, Board, you have your monthly report in front of you in your packet. Are there any questions or anything that Ms. Sink would like to bring forward?
I will address one item if that's all right. Just want the board to know that total of BWC claims is gonna go down. We had at least 2 that were symptomatic issues, not actual injuries, but they have been filed and I'm waiting for the denials or dismissals from the BWC to adjust the numbers, so that will come down,
Oh, thank you.
no problem.
Mr. Rushing, if a claim is, I don't know, call it recycled or comes back, so a past claim that then resurges, essentially, does that count as a new claim or is that not reported?
It's reported at the first report of injury, so
it
that would
would've been
be from a
reported-
previous
If it was 10
report.
years ago or 5 years ago,
Correct.
it would have been reported then. It's
Correct.
not reported now. Okay. All right. Thank you. So this may or may not be representative of all the claims we're dealing with. It's just the new claims that have occurred.
Correct.
Okay.
New claims
Okay.
with the FROIA first report of injury.
Okay. Any other questions on HR? If not, we will advance community development.
Monthly reports in front of you. Mr. Earhart's here to answer any questions.
One update from the zoning commission meeting. We did have that last Thursday for a minor modification for a sign package for Hillside Farms. They did approve that. So they have more signs than are typically allowed in our code, but for such a large development, it did make sense.
As a minor mod, it does not come in front of the board.
Correct.
Sure. Okay. And then awareness items.
We have a few cases that are coming through. McIntyre Estates should be finishing up with their traffic study and probably within the next month or 2 we'll be filing. And then we have 3 cases before RPCC this month. The RCB Business Park, which is right down here on Dayton Xenia, River Reserve section, and Walnut Ridge Final Development Plan. So those will all be at RPCC this month. So finally some action taken on some of those cases.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Now move on to information technology. We do have one housekeeping item. We do have a surplus resolution for some out-of-commission piers, some surfaces, and an overhead credenza from the HR office. Mostly, though, is IT stuff. And then the monthly report behind that, so Mr. Fessler is here to answer any questions. But beforehand, there is a resolution in front of you and can be adopted as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 202-51006-IT-A for certain township equipment to be surplus and to dispose of it.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kretz?
Yes.
Now the monthly report.
Any questions I can answer?
99.1.
I saw, I was like, wow,
I'm
you're
waiting for
really getting
100.
close there.
It's a rounding error.
Well, then I round it down.
Round up or down?
So then it's 99.
Round up, I mean.
Yeah. Please, before I leave, hit 100%. So, okay. Any other concerns, issues, challenges? Obviously, you'll be preparing your budget items as well, as
That is
far
correct.
as from a cybersecurity as and hardware, everything else. So.
Yes, that is correct, and we'll have that prepared in time, but no other large-scale items or big awareness items other than what's before you.
For next meeting, we will review our posture for cybersecurity in executive session with the new state regulations and all the current affairs that's happened surrounding political subdivisions.
Do you have another one? These are both dead and that one died. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Finance Department.
I have the monthly report in front of you. We also received our bound audit from the auditor states, so that is in front of you, so you have your bound copy. We received 3 copies, so those are in front of you. They has yet to be posted on the website, so we anticipate that here momentarily. And then we will hopefully, once again, up for the Auditor State Award that we received last audit as well. But we are in anticipation of that, so fingers crossed.
Just a great job on finance. Thank you.
Anything else for finance? I'm saving my questions to the last meeting. Public service.
Got your monthly report in front of you. Are there any questions or aiding items of awareness that Mr. Schroeder wants to bring?
What was the timeline on the stairs
Stairs.
this year? Yeah. I mean, starting there, but
Once
before
we got
winter.
through the fabrication part and we got
Okay.
that, confirmed, it was probably, I think, 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, one of their fabricators unfortunately had is prolonged out of service, so
Sure.
they're working with limited staff right now.
We did the second landing, correct? Yep,
The
okay,
entire staircase.
good.
I just like the pictures on the 63 sanitary line.
Oh, thank you. That was something. That was not one of our funner days, but, obviously you can see here, they'd had some issues, and so once we started getting into it, we had 290s within a short distance, and that does not help anything at all. And in that corner to where Mr. Rushing had the cursor at the other side, that pipe was actually broken on the top and bottom. So, we had some issues, so, I wanna commend our guys for going, I mean, they did a really good job of getting that straightened out and getting those lines to a better flow. Obviously you can tell the differences, the flow will be much better. But that was quite the project.
There you go.
Thanks for saving the township and taxpayers a lot of money.
Oh, not a problem, that's what we're here for, so, any other questions or anything?
I have a heartfelt thank you to from the Lifeway Lead Academy for the signs, the school entrance signs there
Okay, where at now?
on Trayvine.
not putting it together,
Oh.
but
Yeah, down by, in between Stone Ridge and across from the Conservancy where
Yeah.
the.
Oh, okay.
Right, where the power lines came down during the tornado.
Oh,
Where they
okay.
put up the big ones, there's the
Yeah.
church across the street.
I got you. Okay. So,
There were like 2 accidents in one day right in front of the school there, and so they put up somebody in the township put up the school entrance signs on either side of there.
yeah, I don't necessarily know that was us. I'm trying to, because I don't remember that coming across my desk. But I'll look into it and see who did do it, and let you know. But I
Yeah.
don't think
They
that
were
was.
pleased, it sounded like.
Yes, they were. They said the township came and did it, so they wanted to let you know.
Okay, well,
Take the
I'll-
Thank
compliment.
you.
I'll take it and move along.
Yeah.
I just
At
hate
your
thinking,
service.
I'm like, don't necessarily want to take credit for somebody else's work, but, yeah, it may have happened when I was off, because I was off for 2 weeks. So it may have happened when I was
Yeah.
off and just, nobody said
They just
anything.
did
The
it.
cars are really fast through there, and people turning into the school there's.
Yeah, it does. Everybody seems to move along quite nicely these days. I don't think it's just that particular stretch of road, but,
Yeah.
Cars are
but,
built
okay,
for speed.
I'll take it. You're welcome. Anything else I can help you with? Or?
Great job. You got a great department.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. We now move on to our Fire Department, Chief Hawker, with several action items.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for your time tonight. The first item we have for you tonight is the request to amend the EMS MC agreement. So previously, we were using e-services as EMS MC was not offering that service at the time of onboarding. However, they did include the option in our contract for future use. That time is now, and EMS MC is offering credit card service as part of our current contract. So this amendment will allow us to participate in that service moving forward at no additional charge and has been reviewed by the township legal. The e-services contract was canceled per the contract requirements and legal recommendations, and EMS MC is refunding us $150 to cover our remaining expenses with e-services. The amendment can be found in your packet with the motion to amend if you have no questions.
So we have a motion.
There's a sample motion on your screen in front of you.
I make a motion to amend the agreement with EMS MC for credit card services as presented and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Thank you.
The next item we have for you tonight is the agreement to replace Dr. Romano due to retirement as the second medical director for the department. We have maintained 2 medical directors, going back to an extended leave of absence taken by Dr. Romano and the need to fill his position during that time. That position was filled by Dr. Robinson. We have continued to maintain 2 medical directors, as it is my recommendation to continue this practice. One example of a time that this agreement is valuable is to remain in place is when Dr. Robinson travels for mission trips. We have an additional medical director to maintain those services. Both Dr. Robinson and Dr. Pennington provide medical advice, training including protocol training, policy review and recommendations, amongst many other valuable benefits. This agreement has been reviewed by Township Legal and can be found in your packet with a motion to approve the medical director agreement for Dr. Pennington.
So are they both on call at the same time, or they alternate times, or? how does
Yeah,
it-
they pretty much alternate times.
so you-
Sometimes they'll
You
come.
have coverage all the time, but
Yeah.
not necessarily both at the same time.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we have a multi-department training, such as the CERT training, the Surgical Emergency Response Team training that we had recently, they both came to that training to provide additional
Okay.
services, so.
And have we worked with, other than that training, have we worked with Dr. Pennington before? Do we have history with him, with another, where he was a medical director for another department that we interacted with?
No, sir, this was a recommendation by Dr. Robinson.
Okay. Okay, so it's someone that he can work with?
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve entering into an agreement with Dr. Pennington as the medical director to replace Dr. Romano as presented and authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
The next item we have for you tonight is the approval to begin the bid process for the extraction systems, which are the exhaust removal systems for all 5 of our fire stations. This is part of the FEMA grant previously awarded to the department. The timeline for the bid process and acceptance is outlined in the documentation provided. All specs and bid process have been reviewed by Township Legal and are contained in your packet, along with a motion to approve entering into the bid process.
Didn't we just replace the one at 63 a couple of years ago?
It's been over,
Has it been that long?
yeah, it's been a long time.
There was one of the stations within
Yeah.
the last 10 years that we did.
I know we
thought
had,
it was
I think
63.
64s was the last one that was replaced.
Maybe it was 60, it was.
Yeah,
so
that
we're-
was-
But we still need to replace it. It's out of date or it's out of, it doesn't, our new
All
engines
the
create more
pieces and
exhaust.
Pieces and parts are, they're falling apart.
Okay.
They do not provide the service that they were originally put in for.
Okay. 64 would have been new when it was built.
Correct.
But there was which station did we change? Was
62 got it, I believe.
62, okay.
Yeah, I thought we applied for a grant for 62s.
I thought we actually had changed the.
Yeah, I don't think there was a grant. I think they just replaced it when they remodeled 62s.
Correct. So, and how long ago was that? I'm not saying we don't need it, I'm just asking, is there
Yeah,
a way to?
it
use-
seems like we
Is there a
talked
way to
about
spread
that,
the
yeah.
dollars more?
62s was well before 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
62s before 64.
I don't necessarily remember.
It's been
64.
since I've been here, so.
I'm sorry?
It's been since I've been here.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, 'cause
I don't recall
64
during my time.
okay, no problem. It's just a question. It's
got
like,
it.
it's no different than me asking Jeff Mormon, why are we replacing the bridge on Factory Road again?
That's right.
Because it's worn out. Okay. Okay. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve entering into the bid process for the extraction system FEMA grant as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. And you're not, are you going out for bid for the equipment, or are you actually, getting in the process of winning the grant?
No, we've
You have the
already been
grant.
awarded the grant.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're going out now to bid the equipment per
That's
the,
correct.
per the specifications that are in the grant.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
The last item I have is the 9/11 coordinator update. I don't know if you would like me to present that now or?
Yes.
Okay, so, we have for you tonight is the 9/11 coordinator update. This information was provided by Division Chief Heister and contains a timeline of hours worked and details of all work performed during that time identified. If this report is satisfactory, this will become a monthly report until the return of Division Chief Heister. And if you have any questions, I can try to answer those for you.
Okay. So if has this been circulated to the county yet, or this is the
This has
first?
been provided to TA Rushing for him to move forward.
Okay,
This will be provided at the meeting.
that's what I was asking. So it has not been circulated yet? It'll be
Correct, no,
provided
it'll go out
when
with
we
the
meet.
meeting
Okay,
as normal practice.
okay.
Yes, and he plans to attend the meeting via Zoom or whatever they,
Chief Easter?
yes,
Yeah, okay,
since
okay.
he's not allowed to drive yet, so.
okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? Mr. Rushing, finance has reconciled this?
Yeah, based off of what's been reported. And
That's
we-
where the information came from?
Correct.
So, okay.
And we're also working to, have another resource to validate any sort of questions, if those questions were to come up in the future about clocking in, clocking out, or the main thing is verification of addresses, so.
And it's purely from a standpoint of the sensitivity of this with the county, as far as just to
Oh,
make sure that
absolutely.
we've double-checked everything.
Yeah, I
crossed
raised
our Ts
the
and dotted our
question,
Is.
and we're actively looking into a way to validate it.
Right, okay. Okay. And to your knowledge, as far as, are there any unresolved or unanswered questions
No, sir.
that, from the state, that has been requested of the committee that would fall upon Beavercreek Township's responsibility to coordinate or respond?
None that I know of, sir.
Okay. Sorry, that's how my brain works when I ask questions. It's not a deposition, sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
Okay,
Last is my monthly report. It's pretty extensive, pretty lengthy. A lot of good things happening with the fire department. One thing that we have accomplished is we met our deadline for the submission of documentation for the accreditation process. The peer team is actively reviewing our documentation, and they will determine within 45 days if we're worthy of a site visit, so that's pretty exciting. And then lastly, I would like to send out a lot of appreciation to Fire Marshal Randy Grogan and his department for everything that they do to prepare and provide such an amazing public education event for the Popcorn Festival as well as the open house. That's all I have, sir.
Great. Any questions for Chief Hawker?
I just want to thank Mr. Grogan and Chief for what a great job on the Try-A-Truck event. Everybody all the kids seemed to have a great time with the tunnels and all the shooting of the hose and everything that day. Everybody worked hard. It was a hot day, but a long day, and everybody had a good time, it seemed like.
Thank you.
Very nice event. I think next year you need 2 lines for the hose.
Yeah, because, and Sparky pictures. Everybody liked having Sparky pictures. It was great.
And the Chiefs placed third in the chili competition.
Just means there's room for improvement.
That's right. That was our first entry, so we'll take it.
Is there, from an auxiliary standpoint, is there, if you can ask them, just remind them of budget season coming up as far as any special requests or needs or?
Yes, we meet with them during our budget process to make sure that
Right.
everything is accounted for.
Good, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Frick?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Zaharieff?
Yes, I have 2 good news items. First of all, there's a letter in your packet. I want to take a moment to recognize our finance staff, Terry Molden, Nicole Martin, Tori King. Software Solutions, the software that we use, very large company. Handle a lot of municipalities in Ohio as well as townships and counties. And we have received, and really our staff has received, the SSI Impact Award for creative changes and just how involved we are in recommending changes to make that software much better, not only for Beavercreek Township, but for anybody that's a SSI user. The award will be at their conference, which it's a 3-day conference here in Northern Ohio. They will receive the award on October 24th. Unfortunately, I'll be at another conference further south in Florida, but I know Mr. Rushing will be attending as well, and as well as our staff to accept that award. So outstanding.
Great job.
Second item, also good news, as I have a resolution in front of you to provide additional revenue, general fund, road and bridge, police fund, and fire fund. This is either due to property tax, interest, or other revenues. You can pass it as presented.
I'd like to make a motion, resolution number 202-51006-FIN-A, to certify additional revenues to the official certificate of available resources and to authorize supplemental appropriations.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. That's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Mrs. Dean, MVRPC?
Yes, the Greene County members of MVRPC met to collaborate and advocate for Greene County projects. So we decided to have everyone submit a list of improvement projects that so we can, as a whole, advocate for and/or collaborate the projects. So Mr. Rushing was a part of that meeting, so they're going to be putting together a list of projects that we would like to see in the township.
Yes, Board. In years past, there used to be a collaborative effort to also share information in terms of resurfacing projects as well. If a one jurisdiction has a portion of their road, their paving, major part of the cost is mobilization.
Keep it rolling.
So why not, even though it may not be immediately on our schedule, it may be within, the rolling 5-year schedule that we may say, well, we can save, significant costs because of mobilization to be able to pave it as well. So I worked with Mr. Schroeder. He developed a kind of like a rolling paving program for the years to moving forward. So in front of you here is just a estimate. Again, these are subject to change based off of funding, based off of priorities, based off of conditions, and what our neighbors are doing. So we are going to share this information and continue to keep a rolling list to hopefully spur that conversation of, not having to pay for additional, mobilization costs as we can. The big question we have this evening is what construction projects on a large scale, so true construction projects from an ODOT point of view that are in the unincorporated area that you desire for our MVRPC member, Trustee Dean, as well as myself, advocate on your behalf as the board for future improvements.
When do you need this feedback by?
The meeting, we're looking at in a few weeks to
Okay.
meet, more than likely be after the election, so sometime in mid-November.
Okay.
So if you could have the information
By the
by no
next
later
meeting.
than the first meeting in November,
Okay.
that'll give us ample time to move it forward.
If you can scroll back up, I mean, scroll down whichever way you go towards the 2027. And so Mr. Earhart mentioned on his awareness items was the McIntyre property development. And so these roads essentially would be the construction entrances theoretically to McIntyre, that development. So I would just say keep that top of mind as you go forward. It'd be, rather than repave it, so they can essentially use it as a construction entrance.
And it's still, it's a
It's a moving
somewhat of a
target.
moving schedule. I can't,
It's really just make sure you guys are talking.
right, I plug it in,
So.
and again, if the development were to
Right.
become reality, then we could obviously adjust that schedule, so.
Yeah, and the main thing is just to make sure you guys are talking so that, because you're both aware of different things and you both have different relationships outside, so it can save a curb and gutter argument later. No curb on there, but, yeah, okay. Okay,
But take some time to consider, what major construction projects you would like to see in the unincorporated area. The local resurfacing program, that's something that staff already programs. It's questions about, for example, do we want to continue the conversation of overpasses on Factory over US 35? Do we want to continue with the overpasses on Orchard Lane on US 35? Xenia Township desires to, as you come east to west on US 35 and go behind, Walmart, it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 lane, one for the business exit to 35 to downtown Xenia, and then one that wraps around that goes right before Treybine, to have ODOT have that as a long-term project to hopefully have that 2 lanes continue all the way through. Obviously, ODOT, it's a massive fiefdom, as it were, and, we are trying to band together as Greene County to advocate so that we don't compete against one another if we do go after tens of millions of dollars of projects in the future. So happy to facilitate any other information, but please take in consideration so that way we can report back to the working group and NVRPC as a whole. And then this week, on Wednesday, I'll be attending, there is a ODOT stakeholders meeting that you have to register for. It's on Wednesday afternoon. I'll be attending that and hopefully either providing information on behalf of the township and bringing back information that they share.
okay. Mr. Rushing, Ms. Rushing on opioid regional task force. Any updates
There's been
there?
no meeting.
As far as Greene County Regional Planning, Executive Committee will be 1:30 on the 21st, sorry, and the full commission will meet again on the 28th, and I don't have an agenda yet to know what's on there. Health Department Advisory Council?
There's nothing to report. There were some concerns at the meeting in regards to, and we might have some people in the township this is affected by, but their increased rates for their sewer. So there were some people that were kind of upset at the meeting about that, so.
Okay. School superintendent, city manager, township administrator.
Just very briefly, we did brief over the joint meeting that we had between the three entities. One of the things that came out of that meeting was the thought process of having a second joint meeting, potentially either first or second quarter of next year. That's more about strategy versus reporting, and keep it within maybe a handful of topics so that we can sit down and go, to developing a more strategy and more shared services other than just purely department reports. We
Yeah,
do
the-
desire to keep the annual report because we do think there's benefit to that. But we do realize that, death by PowerPoint, so to speak, so strategy is also important.
I think staff did a good job. It is a bit of, it's kind of like the county's, state of the county, state of the township, update to at least our local neighbors and partners. I think Pete Bales brought it up, and it's valid that in the past, we've sat in this room and we had some pretty hot topic conversations, at some times, and those hot topics don't necessarily exist, but problem-solving work session type meeting might be helpful. So they were valuable then, and it bridged some gaps and it healed some wounds, so.
Well, I think next year too, especially with, in light of a lot of discussions on property tax, I think there needs to be a common message.
Almost a
amongst
work
the
session on
trust-
that,
Yeah, the
yeah.
trustees,
Yeah.
school board, and city council.
Yep, because it's an evolving topic.
Yeah,
Right, Pat, Air Force Restoration Advisory Board,
no meeting.
Greene County Waste, Water and Water Committee,
No meeting.
Township Association, any update?
Yeah, we are actually hosting the Greene County Township Association annual or monthly meeting rather next week, Tuesday at 6:30 at the new Overbrook Landing on Overbrook Boulevard.
Please accept my RSVP.
So noted.
Investment Oversight Committee, we heard from Mr. Sumner today, and like I said before, I think it's prudent to at least get the information and then make a decision from the information rather than guessing. 911 Advisory Committee, Chief Hawker, thanks for the updates. And will you be attending those meetings if there's another meeting this year? I don't remember when that's on the schedule. Ryan, do you remember?
No, that wasn't the plan. However, if our presence is desirable, we can certainly request it.
Yeah. It might be prudent just from an awareness standpoint, just to be participant in that. Chief Vandenboss, he attended early, but then dropped off as Chief Easter filled in that role, but it may be prudent. Is there anything else to come before us? Okay. If not, do we have a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G1, to consider the employment and compensation of public employees, and Ohio Revised Code 121.22G2 to consider the purchase of property for public purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Can we take a 5-minute break?
Yes.